Sai Ram. The city of Madras, or Chennai as it is known today in the state of Tamil Nadu, India, has a very special place in the heart of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, our dear Swami. In fact, from 1945, when Swami first visited Madras, he was barely 20 years old. Till 1995, that is 50 years later, Swami has made about 65 visits to this city, which is amazing considering the fact that his official residence or the mandir, which is called Sundaram. We know Swami's biography is called Satyam Shivam Sundaram, right? There is Satyam at Dharmakshetra in Bombay, and that came up first. Then came Shivam in Hyderabad, and the third mandir to come up in 1981, on the 19th of January to be precise, is Sundaram. So that came up only 1981. Before that, Swami would stay at the homes of a few blessed devotees who had the great privilege, pleasure and honor of hosting him, taking care of him. This included the Raja of Venkatagiri, this included Mr. Venkatamuni. The earliest was Mr. Hanumantha Rao and his wife, Mrs. Rao or Mrs. Parvathamma. Mr. Hanumantha Rao was the Transport Commissioner of the erstwhile Madras Presidency. This consisted of the present day Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh states. Now he was the Transport Commissioner, and you know what? He is the one who issued a driving license to Swami. Yes, Swami would drive the Morris Minor car at such speeds, and Mr. Hanumantha Rao felt that he has the experience of a 50-year-old driving with such great skill and ability, and therefore he had issued his driving license to, and this was revealed by Swami himself during one of those sessions when Swami came and was speaking to the students. Not just that, it was Mr. Hanumantha Rao who had coordinated the first meeting between Swami and Mahatma Gandhi ji. Yes, Swami indeed met Mahatma Gandhi as a teenager. 1946, Mahatma Gandhi had visited Madras. At that time, Swami had met him, and Swami revealed during one of the sessions with the students that he had advised Gandhiji on what he was doing right and what he was doing wrong. But well, that will be subject for another video, not over here. I'm just trying to tell you that Swami was very close to the family of Hanumantha Rao and Mrs. Parvathamma, and he was like a son in that family. So many leelas and mahimas he has done and this family has witnessed. And I know all of this because I had the pleasure and privilege of meeting with the niece of Mrs. Parvathamma and her grandniece as well when I was at a retreat near New Jersey in United States of America. Now this video is titled as Death and Resurrection because this is the story of how this couple, which was so close to Swami, so near and dear Swami, moved away from Swami. Isn't going away from God equal to death? But then they came back to Swami because that is the master plan. Swami's love is so immense, he never allows any one of us to go away from him entirely. They came back to Swami, and that is the resurrection. But it is not just that death and resurrection alone, there is an actual death also. Mr. Hanumantha Rao and Mrs. Parvathamma had their fair share of leelas, mahimas and miracles of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, and some of them are recorded in Howard Murphy's book, Man of Miracles. Yes, that glorious book which has been responsible in bringing thousands of devotees from across the globe to the lotus feet of Swami. Blessed is Howard Murphy for having written this book, which would have earned him a lot of punya, I am sure. So in that he records how one day at the home of this couple, Swami suddenly told Mrs. Parvathamma, "Hey, look, the devas are here, the angels are here, and they want to give something." It was the day of Krishna Janmashtami, the birthday of Lord Shri Krishna, and as Swami held out his hands in the thin air, in the empty sky, there descended a large, beautifully carved, exquisite glass bowl filled with sweets from all around India, North India and South India, East India and West India, the most great delicacies. And Swami offered it to this family and they enjoyed it on Krishna Janmashtami day. At the same time, Swami asked for an apron and he held the apron and it looked as if Swami was cuddling a baby putting a baby to sleep, he went on singing lullabies. This is something Swami would do. Even when traveling in the car with Mr. Hanumantha Rao and Mrs. Parvathamma, Swami would regale them with so many songs, divine songs, bhajans, and Swami would sing so melodiously and beautifully, and they were so thrilled. He won their hearts and it was so fantastic for them. So here Swami is singing some lullabies and later gently places the apron on a bed as if he's putting a baby to sleep. And what do they see? Inside is another magnificently and exquisitely carved sandalwood idol of Bhagawan Krishna. And as Howard Murphet records, he has seen this exquisite glass bowl as well as the sandalwood idol of Krishna. So these are the kinds of miracles that this couple was exposed to. Now this couple had a son that was born to them possibly in 1942. He was around 4 years old when they came to Swami. His name was Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya. But Swami would call this boy as Shiva. And Swami loved this boy. Swami was also 20-year-old in 1946. This boy was 4 years old. And Swami had great love for him. This boy, since he was 6 months old, had been struck by the dreaded poliomyelitis disease, polio. Polio had not yet been eradicated in India back then, and so many children would suffer from that, and he got struck with that polio. And the parents hoped that Swami would cure their son Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya of this dreaded disease. Now Swami was very attached to him. In fact, Swami would call him Shiva. Though his name was different, Swami would always call him Shiva. And Swami told the parents, Shiva is the rope who has pulled me to you and you to me. Shiva is the rope who binds us all together. Without him, we will all get separated. Now, Swami would often make pronouncements like this, and they wondered what Swami meant by it. They did not understand, but they left it at that. But in their deep innermost recesses of their hearts, they always nourished this hope and desire that someday Swami would cure their son, cure their Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya, cure his own Shiva. But sadly, that was not to be so. Sometime in the 1950s, late 1950s I think, this boy expired because the polio climbed up to his brain, it affected, he began to get fits and convulsions, and the doctors tried their best, they could not save him, he passed away. And the parents were devastated because this was their only child, or so they thought, because Swami was always like a son to them. He used to behave like a son with them, but they were very, very upset that Swami did not do anything to save their son. And because of that, they just drifted away from Swami. They just stopped going to Swami, and Swami too stopped coming to their home in Madras. As I said, by now, Swami would stay in other devotees' homes as well. The other two that I mentioned, the Raja of Venkatagiri and Mr. Venkatamuni and his family. This went on like this. I've already mentioned that Mr. Hanumantha Rao was the Transport Commissioner. Now, Mrs. Parvathamma was a key member in the Andhra Mahila Sabha. That was another social organization that would do a lot of service and a lot of social work, and she was a key member there, and both of them were very well known in Madras circles all over the state as well. They used all their influence, all their power, all their wealth in order to do something for children like their own son Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya, who were suffering from poliomyelitis, and therefore they started the Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya Orthopaedic Center. It was a center that was for such children. It brought the latest in scientific research, the best medical care, the best kind of help for children afflicted with poliomyelitis. And they began to consider all such children as their own children. In fact, Mrs. Parvathamma would spend many hours at this Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya Orthopaedic Center taking care of the children. They installed a small statue, a bust of their little child Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya, who was the core reason for which this entire center was built. Dear brothers and sisters, having built this and having shared their love and wealth and everything that they had with such children who were suffering, suddenly this couple underwent a change of heart. They remembered all the beautiful times that they had spent with Swami. You see, dear brothers and sisters, selfless love never is in vain. Once you have experienced selfless love, you can never let go of it. That's why even in the Bible we have the story of the prodigal son. That is how it was for this couple. They could not bear to stay away from Swami. They remembered everything and they realized that they were wrong in blaming Swami. There are so many children going through these difficulties. And then when they looked back retrospectively, they realized that that one tragedy in their lives had given them so much more fulfillment because they were helping so many other Ishwari Prasad Dattattreyas. So many children got a new lease of life because of the actions they undertook. And thus, they returned back to Swami. They came back to Swami and invited Swami to come over to their home. And Swami visited them as if nothing had happened. There was no anger, there was no anguish, there was no ill will, nothing. It was like the whole relationship had been put on a pause and it just resumed. Swami was back being their son. Swami was back doing his leelas and mahimas with them, and they were so thrilled and they were very fulfilled. This is such an amazing resurrection because even to this day, the Ishwari Prasad Dattatreya Orthopaedic Center exists in the city of Chennai. And you know what? Polio has been eradicated in India. There is no more polio. But there are still a lot of children who need help and assistance in other ways. And that is what this center has morphed into. Today it takes care of children who are suffering from various physical challenges, physical handicaps, mental challenges, mental handicaps, and more than 100 children are taken care on a daily basis with great love and sacrifice. In fact, if you go to their website, you see also that this center, by the way, this center was inaugurated by a former Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, in 1960. It was inaugurated, and from 1960 to date, 2025, 65 years it has continued its service and dedication. Dear brothers and sisters, in the Mahabharata, there is a character called Karna. Those who are not aware of it know this much, that Karna is extremely talented, extremely powerful, extremely strong, but he faces one after another misfortune in his life. Finally, it is only the villain, that is Duryodhana, who actually stands by his side, and Karna offers loyalty to him. But because of that bad company, because he is supporting the bad, he too is destroyed. On the verge of dying, he asks the Lord Krishna, "What wrong did I do? Tell me, the circumstances in my life were so tragic, so bad for me. I have fought every time, and yet why am I being put to this for that one mistake of choosing a wrong friend?" And Lord Krishna tells him that, "See Karna, it is right that your life had not been perfect. It is not rosy. It was filled with so many tragedies. But there are so many others like you too. You had something that all the others did not have, which is your strength, your valor, your courage, your power. All these things are gifts from God to you. You should have used those powers to uplift all the others who are like you, because all the others were not given all these. But no, you chose to do it only for yourself. You were very selfish in using all that only for your gain. And that is why you have had a fall. Had you used your power for uplifting all the others who were like you, blessed would have been your life." From that perspective, blessed is the life of Mr. Hanumantha Rao and Mrs. Parvathamma, because though they were struck with this tragedy of losing a child, the reason for which they lost the child, they ensured that they did the best to remove that tragedy from the lives of thousands of others. And they succeeded. And that is why I also feel it was a resurrection for them, a death that brought about their resurrection. But the story does not end there. The story does not end there, because after this came the death of Parvathamma herself. And then came a resurrection. But that we shall deal with in the next video. In this video, we saw how a death led to a resurrection of faith and hope and goodness. In the next, we will see how a resurrection will lead to the death of doubt, despair, and the ego. Till then, let us pray to Swami that having got him in our life, we never ever let go of him. We hold on strongly to him. And dear Swami, may the love that we have for you in our hearts keep growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.